And what's up, everybody? Welcome to another season of King's Court. Boys, I'm pumped. I'm happy to have Joka and Vinny for the first episode, aka the mock draft episode, coming to us live this weekend. I'm pumped, boys. How are you guys doing? Brian, welcome.
Yeah, it's good to be back for another season. I was happy to be featured a couple times last year. I'm really excited for this draft. I've got a few somewhat early of like draft picks, so I'm starting to feel that buzz now that we're 4 days away. But I'm looking forward to what this next season holds, and I'm excited to have Vinny on for a call too, because obviously, I mean, it's Vinny. So
Hell yeah, thank you. Should be another great season. A lot of good trades last season. I feel like people made some serious moves. So let's get this draft started and see who's the next to make that serious move.
I love it, boys. I love it. First and foremost, congratulations to the NBA champion, Boston Celtics. I figured I'd pop a little bubbly in here, Celtics beer. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to celebrate. I can't wait to celebrate with everyone this weekend that's coming to the barbecue. Should be a good time. Vinny, I hope you could have made it. I think you should start walking right now.
yeah,
I still wouldn't make it in time.
we'll zoom him in for a drink. How does that sound?
Yeah, Vinny, I'm gonna try and have just a picture of your face somewhere at the draft party.
No, that's fine. The people that can't make it, if everyone can zoom in, that'd still be cool.
Yep, I'm definitely gonna have a Zoom in meeting that way. If for the guys that aren't around, definitely join in.
Yep, that'd be cool.
Hell yeah. So today, mock draft episode, like I was mentioning. I want to give everyone a quick rundown. Hey, let's just check out everyone's team really quick. And we're gonna focus on the draft. What our team needs, what we think that your guys' team needs are, and it's gonna be a slight critique, but let's have fun with it, boys. Let's have fun with it. So I'm gonna start sharing the screen over now. And we will be getting right into it, boys. And here we are. Boys, I'm jazzed. I stare at Sleeper all day, every day. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I do too.
It could be an addiction.
I'm always trying to scheme of what move I could make, whether it's a trade or if there's somebody that I really like in the draft, kind of just weighing like the two options. Nobody's bit on my trade block picks yet, but guys, there's still a couple days left if you're interested. So hit me up.
I'm interested. I just haven't reached out yet.
We'll be in talks after this.
Hey! Don't forget about me. Let's get maybe a little menage a trois.
A little three-way trade. Damn, dude, that'd be sick.
Ooh.
All right, we'll talk off air, boys. So let's get it rolling. We'll start off with my team. We're just gonna go right down the list of where we're at in the league. And boys, I'll come out and say it. I got some picks. I'm really excited. 2 top 5 picks. Only guy in the draft that could say that. Number 5 is for sale. I expect fireworks this week, boys. Let me just get that pop-up out of the way. I apologize. This is bad TV. But I got guys coming off injury. I'm definitely looking to fill a lot of roster spots and rebuild some depth. I got some young guys that I'm looking forward to, but as you can see, your boys got some empty spots. I've been raring to go. And again, pick 5 picks in the first 2 rounds. I love it, boys. What do you guys got to say?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely want to commend you for knowing, to back it up a little bit. It's a 14-team league. I'm sure a lot of us have not done 14-team leagues before, so it's, especially with Dynasty, it's a little bit of a new experience for me. But you knew when you suffered some injuries last year that you were going to be going into a rebuild, a tank, whatever anybody wants to label it. And I feel like you've done a pretty good job getting some good veteran assets while also attaining those picks as well to kind of size out the rest of your roster. Obviously, I love like your core of Mahomes. You've got Najee, Warren. Let's see who ends up being the top dog there. Keenan Allen in a new spot. I think Pollard's gonna. He's not an A1 guy, but I think he could be an A2.
He's gonna get touches. That's all I care about.
Yep, between him and Spears, I think that'll be a pretty good combo. I think you did a good job compared to where you were at last year. So I don't know. I'm excited to see what you do with some of these picks and what you end up doing in these mock drafts too.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah, and
see.
outside of Mahomes, I would say there's no superstars though. So if you do have a weakness, it's that there's no superstars filling up this lineup. You do have players. You're not really hurting for depth like other teams are,
Mhm.
but I just don't see that reliable guy that you love every single week in that lineup other than Mahomes.
I couldn't agree more, Vinny. I need that superstar. I've been dangling my high draft picks to everybody. Um, I mean, I'm one of those guys that comes at Alex looking for CD Lamb. Like that's the kind of big fish that I'm looking for. Brian, I text you all the time, Justin Jefferson. Like I
You got to
want that
stop
big
offering me
fish.
the 105 for Jefferson, though, buddy. If we're gonna get down to brass tacks,
Hey.
we're gonna have to throw the 101 in there somehow. But
Jilka, you should have listened to him yesterday, trying to get Amon Ra without giving the 1 or 5.
you sick fuck.
Yeah, I scheme and it's fun talking to you guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll move on to the next team. That's enough about me. I'm looking forward to it, boys. The picks are really gonna help me out. Joka is the next team. And Joka, if you wanna start us off.
Yeah, I can definitely kick us off. I felt like I was a contender last year by, if you want to scroll down to just my picks really quick, I really went all in. I made some trades for some veteran players, some that were a little bit older, and I ended up coming up short. I didn't make it to the championship. I didn't get to claim a championship. But I couldn't knock my hustle for trying. So I really went into this off season looking to get some young talent. I knew I'm probably not going to be a contender, at least for this year. But I managed to at least I made some first round draft picks, or excuse me, I traded for some first round draft picks, and I was able to get some younger talent from it. If you want to go back up to the roster really quick, I've still got Jefferson, kind of a stud, one of those elite fantasy wide receivers. I was able to pick up Achane, Tank Dell. Let's see what he does with Diggs getting thrown into the mix. I made that trade prior to that happening, but I don't think in the long term it's going to be a huge effect on there. And then I picked up Pitts as well. It sucked to trade Lamar, but I wanted to focus on getting a few younger guys in that core mix of that lineup. And I had some trades that they didn't go my way, whether it was timing or, Bowers getting drafted to the Raiders when I had Mayer and stuff like that. The depth is suspect. Let's even downgrade that. It's atrocious. There's nothing going on there. If there's an injury, I've really got to bank on some of these younger guys, where if I end up moving some before the draft or during the draft, but definitely going all in is always a gamble, but it didn't pay off, and now I'm trying to come back from that a little bit. So
You said it before, though, the 14 teams, it's going to be tough for every single person in this league to enhance their depth. Depth is always going to be a struggle for each and every one of us. So I wouldn't knock you too hard on that, but you are right. You're probably in the lower tier of the depth in this league.
So just like myself, Brian, I've seen you turn over your roster a lot. It's been very impressive, the trades that you've been able to throw down. I mean, getting Achane and Mostert in one trade as a combo, great move. I'm a big believer in the handcuff. Having handcuffs is important to my strategy. Clearly with Najee and Warren. But I like the trades that you did. I feel you with the Tank Dell and Stephon Diggs coming in and trading for him right before that happened. I did that in another league, same exact situation. I'm happy with Tank though, and I love his upside in his future. And Stroud loves him.
Yeah.
Getting Pitts was awesome for you too. I agree with that. And Dontavian Wicks, everyone's talking about.
There's a lot of buzz about Wicks.
Resident Packer fan here. Quick, give me a quick rundown on Wicks. You excited?
I don't get why everyone's so excited for the fourth best receiver on a team. I like him. He's good, but he's not going to be this like fantasy superstar that I've seen some people say.
Yeah.
If I could add on to a couple, so obviously this is the mock draft. This is the pre-draft episode. If there's anything I'm going into the draft for, I mean, clearly I've got a couple of pretty good running backs off the start here. There's no other running backs to be seen on this roster. Pretty much. I don't know if you guys saw, I dropped Joshua Kelly the other day. Otherwise, I've got McKinnon as a free agent, Foreman, who's probably third on his depth chart, Wilson, who is buried down there. Don't even know if he's going to make it. It is bare bones when it comes to that running back situation. So you can expect him to at least take a big peek at the running backs in this draft for sure. If I see that as a need, because that's where I'm definitely lacking.
I hope I verse you in Miami's bye week.
Good one, Diddy.
I'd rather get it out of the way, so I hope I'm playing you too.
So next team we'll jump on is Matt Dispenza. He stayed pretty level for the most part. He made one move, I know, trading with Stick and getting digs and letting go of other players. Once we get to Sig's team, we'll talk about those. But just boys, quick rundown of Matt's team, what you guys see here as I'm scrolling by. Again, depth's going to be an issue for everyone in this league at all times. That's why it's going to be so hard.
Yeah.
Year in and year out, and very competitive, boys. Because you got to flip rosters over. And we'll just talk about draft picks for Matt. Number 7, number 8, 209, 207, 201. Looking pretty good. Looking pretty set up.
Yeah, I mean, with that many draft picks, you have to imagine you're probably going to hit on at least one of them, right? For somebody who's you're going to be able to plug into that flex and play every single week. I mean, we've seen a pretty consistent theme thus far. Obviously, he's got Bijan, that stud right in the middle, right there. But I think what's really going to set some of these teams apart now that we're into our first actual rookie draft is finding that rookie that is going to pop off, that's going to exceed expectations, especially where Matt's at. Matt's kind of in that prime area of the draft with the 7 and 8 in the first round, and even a couple of picks in the second round, where all it takes is one of those rookies to exceed their expectations, and it can carry you to a championship.
Yep.
I do want to address that trade too. Usually you don't see a huge trade happen where it does seemingly look like it works out for both parties.
Yeah.
Because it put Matt in a position to get picks without actually rebuilding and tanking. He can still actually be competitive with the players he got and the picks that he acquired.
So just looking at this real quick, I think Matt's biggest needs is clearly at the top. Running back, Algier, he's got the handcuff for Bijan, wicked smart. This is what I'm talking about. Like, these are the guys that you want on your roster. But who's his backup to Dak? I think Matt is a huge quarterback need here. And those mid-round picks, let's just say, spoiler alert, I'm predicting a quarterback pick there. So that's
I don't think that's a ballsy pick, though.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
I think it's expected.
Moving on to Ricky. This man lost one game last regular season. Unfortunately came up short in the playoffs, but he's got a strong lineup ready to go here, boys.
Yeah, I mean, he's got Mixon in a new home in Houston. He'll probably at least see some more touches. I know they obviously improved their passing game. He'll probably get some more red zone looks down there. We've got Jacobs also in a new home, a couple of his running backs there. If you have Josh Allen, you're always in contention for a win every single week. So as long as you have him kind of holding that down, obviously he's got Puka, he's got Tyreek right in there. I see Ricky being a contender again this year. I made a trade with him to get Achane. In trading Devonta Smith, it definitely, it hurt a little bit to trade one of my guys out there like that. I mean, he's got Rashee Rice. Where the hell happens with him, in this offseason, whatever the situation is with him going on. But Ricky's got a good team. He's got the depth that a lot of these other teams are lacking so far, right? Yeah. Are we going to talk about the trade that you guys made or anything like that kind of kicked off our offseason here?
The jury's still out. I think Khalil Shakir is a great wide receiver. Just look at his playoff performance last year with Josh Allen when Diggs was a complete no-show. 100 yards and a tutty. That's what I expect from this guy this year. He's going to be a go-to guy in the slot. He's shifty. I think Ricky got a good player here that's on the come up. Everyone's more pissed that second got thrown in there, but this guy's 8 years younger than Stephon Diggs at the time of the trade.
We'll see what happens. Like you said, the jury's still out. I think there's I think people can definitely get a little worked up when they see some draft picks thrown in there. But again, it's, on a lot of draft picks, you also have to get lucky too, right? There's a lot of rookie fever going around, but I want to give you the benefit of the doubt. I don't think there was anything too crazy going on there, but also, definitely I could see why it raised some eyebrows. But again, Ricky's going to be a contender again this year.
He's going to be contending for sure. Vinny, you think so?
Yeah, for sure. He has so many Bills pass catchers too, where Josh Allen is just gonna feed at least one of them between Kincaid, Samuel, and Shakir. Whichever one becomes his top target throughout the year.
Yep,
Ricky
I
has
forgot
him.
about Chris Samuel. So yeah, he's gonna be stacking up on teams. I do expect Ricky to be in the mixes here. So
Kincaid could be the guy for Allen this year too. He could be their number one option, even though he's a tight end. So
yeah,
he's definitely one of the more talented pass catchers that they have on that team.
yep. So next we got Alex. Alex obviously was one of the bottom four teams this past season. He's got some stud receivers. And his running backs besides Javonte and I think that's what's lacking on Alex's team right now, a little running back depth. And quarterback is a little iffy with Deshaun Watson and Wilson, from my opinion. Vinny, what do you got to say about his depth here that you're seeing on the screen?
Yeah, I think Alex, even though Matt only has one quarterback, I think Alex might have the worst quarterback room in this league. I think it's definitely something he should try to trade for or look for in the draft. I don't believe in a Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson championship out of him if those are his only two.
Yep. Brian, you
Yeah.
agree?
I would agree with that. The quarterback situation is definitely a problem for me. I mean, a lot of people will say that obviously you need the core positions, wide receiver, running back, a talented tight end to win a championship. But at the end of the day, you still need a quarterback, especially when you get so many points from a good passing quarterback. If we look back a little bit last year, Alex was probably the team who suffered the worst amount of matchup luck. And the fact that he has the 104 with that much core talent on his team
With those receivers, yeah.
It's insane to me. The wide receivers, whether he ends up moving some of those wide receivers for quarterback, a running back, or even holding on to that pick, and maybe he drafts a quarterback with it. Maybe he's the first one to take. Maybe he takes another step and he's the one that ends up taking Williams or like something like that. Is it going to solve it? Who knows? You can never really tell with a rookie quarterback, but Williams is definitely set up pretty well with the wide receivers and Kmet around him as well there in Chicago if he does end up doing that. But I would agree with what Vinny said. It's definitely the quarterback is the toughest position right there for him.
For sure. Having 104
won't have to be addressed at 104 though.
Yeah. No.
It would be a reach. But
204, you could probably get a quarterback too.
Yep. And just quick look ahead in his future too. He was the one that traded Ricky last year for Jacobs. Thank you.
Yep.
I spaced out. And he's got 2 firsts the next 2 years. So
yeah,
that's something to build on as well in case he's got some trade chips. If Alex really wants to make a move, he's got the pieces to do it. So Alex, once you watch this, I know you will. Hopefully it gives you a little courage. And
maybe we'll see a trade out of him. Maybe.
Hey, I mean, that's a pretty big one right there. 2 firsts for Jacobs. I mean, that's a pretty sizable trade. So I got to give him big credit for that.
Yes,
those are some good pieces for the future.
All right.
Yeah, for sure. That was a trade he should have taken for sure. 100%.
We're gonna move on to the champ. This is Diego here. Watch the throne. I still can't believe Diego won the championship with freaking Joe Flacco and Joey Burrow fucking on his IR, and he gets him back this year. That's just not fair.
Yeah. Vinny, you want to kick this one off?
Yeah, I mean, there's anomalies in fantasy, right?
You can't tell me anomaly, dude. We're about to break down this roster. Diego has a good roster.
He does. No, I'm saying the championship. Just going to winning through the playoffs, championship. Flacco was that anomaly. You can't have that happen. That doesn't happen every single year to somebody, right? So definitely good for Diego for finding it and starting him throughout the playoffs. Definitely congrats to the champ. And to come back, and now you have one of the best quarterbacks still. You don't have to rely on the anomaly anymore. You have one of the best quarterbacks again. But to go through it, I mean, he has a great running back room. I do love the top 2 receivers, Waddle and Ayuk. We'll look at he has another one too, right? Jameson Williams.
Yep, Jameson Williams coming up.
And
Josh
forward.
Palmer, sneaky dude.
Yeah, Palmer's a starter. Jacoby Myers is still a starter on his team. So he does have the depth to keep playing guys. And I believe in Njoku too. I think Njoku's a very good tight end. So Diego's set up for a great success run again if he gets another Flacco on his team somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, I think we said it after the post-draft podcast that we did last year, right, Hugo? Diego is going into it in a win now. He drafted a lot of older players.
Older guys, yeah.
It's going to be pretty tough getting those older running backs that I think have an average age of probably almost 29, 30 years old. Asking for 2 firsts for Derrick Henry and, so on and so forth is a little insane to me. So, Diego, if you ever feel like offloading some of those for some of these seconds or this first that I have, hit me up. I'm definitely looking for them as well. I need some veteran running backs. But yeah, I think, yeah, no, not 2 of them, not 2 of them. I think Diego's going to be in a prime spot to contend again this year. I mean, again, he's got Burrow, he's got those good running backs. He has some, you're the champ. You've got the last pick in the draft, but there's still some value to be had at that 114 this year. It's a deep draft class. So who knows? Maybe he ends up snagging one of those running backs right there, and they end up being his running back of the future instead of having to worry about these old guys getting phased out. But I mean, who knows with Derrick Henry? He could play until he's 40 the way he's looking, especially once December hits.
I see some workout videos from Derrick Henry, and that guy is just a genetic freak, dude.
Yeah, it's insane.
Go watch, not to make it weird, go watch workout videos of Derrick Henry. The guy's a lunatic.
Well, why don't the 3 of us do it after this?
Good one.
Just
I
watch
like
guys get sweaty. Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
But he's going to close out the draft on Sunday. He's looking forward to it. He's not budging on moving from where he is. And look at him. He's got every single pick besides the second, which he traded to you, Joka, for Austin Eckler to kick off the offseason.
Yep. I definitely, again, I was trying to get younger, moved Eckler off. So I moved for the future second, which I'll take all day, every day with where I was at. So,
yeah. And Diego's running back depth is so stupid that he still has Zeke, and Zeke is still on NFL rosters and contributing. Yep. So that's how crazy his, I got to give him props. He's the champ for a reason,
Yeah.
He
in a 14-team league, I guess Zeke could still be a starter.
Yeah. We're right. Next was a former host of the show, Dumont. So where you at, Dumont?
Who?
But let's check him out, because I don't know how I feel about Dumont's team, guys. He needs players. He's traded a lot of players away. And we're gonna see his draft depth coming up, and why it's so good. But what do you guys give me on this? Brian, kick us off here.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have seen Dumont and I go back and forth. We're not afraid to talk some trash in the chat. It's what keeps the dynasty season going, even in the off season. It helps the chat flow. Dumont said I was, going to be tanking, and he wanted to hold on to my pick at all costs. So I had to make some moves. I think he should worry about tanking himself. He's got Chig in his flex. He's got Tyler Boyd in his flex. He has some very good young pieces. He has James Cook in there, but I think the real Cook that he has in there happens to actually be Jones up there. I think we're going to have a pretty steep fall off the cliff right there. But again, he's got some really good, young, talented players that he has. Richardson's in there at quarterback. He has Stroud, arguably the two best young quarterbacks that we have. I know we only got a window that we saw with Richardson last year, but from a fantasy perspective, I want to clarify those two could be absolute studs. And then he has all the draft picks in the world. So again, he's probably going to hit on at least 1 or 2 of them. I mean, he's got 3 first-round picks.
Hey, Vinny, does all this first-round picks look familiar?
I love it. I love looking at it. But I feel Dumont needs to go in one of 2 directions. He can't just sit still with all of this. I think he needs to try to look at getting some win now players with his young studs, or he needs to go into that rebuild tank mode. I don't think that this is a competing roster. I just feel like you got to go one way or the other. You can't just keep staying stuck in the middle.
Yep. So what I'll say with him, he's got some nice pieces. Obviously, the quarterbacks, Richardson and Stroud, studs. Aaron Jones, I think, is going to contribute this year. So, but But Brian, I think you're right. This is, and Vinny, you are too. This is a 50-50 roster of where are you at really? Because he needs two starters clearly, in his two flex spots, and he's got young receivers in Addison and in Jigba, and Cook is his really star player, would you say? And McBride, high hopes for him, but we'll see if he becomes that.
Yeah, I honestly, he could trade some of those picks away, get two talented veteran players, and your immediate. He was in the championship last year, you know, or at least he was contending for it at some point. He made a deep playoff run. He made a deep playoff run. But is he going to be a pretender, or is it going to prove to be the real thing this season? Because there's definitely some moves that he could make to be a serious contender with all those picks that he has there. So
3 firsts is very nice.
Yep.
All right, we'll move on to Dylan over here. My brother from another mother, Eagles fan here. What do you guys think of this roster here? Starting with Hurts at the top. As we go down, Vinny, what do you think my man Dylan's in need of? Because I think he's got a good roster that's going to compete this year.
I think he does have a good roster, and Dylan did make the choice. You know, we were talking about Dumont needs to make the choice. Dylan did make the choice. He said, I'm going to be a contender. I'm going to use my picks, and I'm going to make a great starting lineup. He does have some good pieces in the bench too, so I wouldn't be worried at all. If I was Dylan right now, he could completely screw up this draft and still be so fine for the next at least 1 or 2 years.
No. And it looks like Dylan's only going to have 1 first-round pick this year. So he's going to have a low-key start to the draft, but with a starting lineup like this, Brian, I think he's going to be pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a team this deep where, you know, Hopkins, yeah, he's older, but on a lot of these teams, he's probably going to end up slotting into either that starting wide receiver position or at least like your top flex guy. The fact that he has Hopkins and Pittman in his flex and he still has a first round pick, Dylan's in a good spot. I mean, look at this roster. It's all the way up and down. He's got the depth as well. I know obviously Charbonnet's not the starter, but he still gets his touches up there in Seattle. Yep. Who knows with QJ? They said there's some things going on, you know, that he looks pretty good during OTAs and kind of like in this offseason. He's got Komet on the bench as a tight end who you could easily slot in as a flex if he really needed to in a pinch. Dylan's got a great team. I definitely see him contending this year. I think he was kind of a consensus also last year to be a contender. So yep. I'm not shocked to see that he's most likely going to be in a similar position again.
Yep. All right, we'll move on to Stick. This is the absolute 180 from where he ended his season at last year, and he completely flipped his team around here. Boys, what do you guys think about this?
Yeah, I'm giving out an award to the cojones of the offseason, and it's definitely Stick, dude. He went out and said, I'm going to completely retool this and create an amazing team. And somehow he did do it.
Yeah, obviously I was part of that insane kind of like back-to-back trade. He ended up getting Lamar and Debo off of me. Kind of a swap. I ended up with Kyler and Kyle Pitts and whatever else was thrown in. Honestly, I kind of blacked out after I saw the trade that happened like 2 minutes after that because I really didn't expect it. Stick's clearly in an absolute, if there's ever a situation
the most
of an absolute win now, the most win now team you'll ever see. I mean, you've got Kelsey, Kupp, Adams, Debo. He's not exactly the youngest guy, but he still produces. Saquon, again, he's an athletic freak, but he's getting a little bit older as a running back. Stick's in to compete now. I could absolutely see Stick just, if all of these guys do happen to stay healthy, and that's a big if, obviously, I could see him being the team to beat like throughout this entire season. I mean, and he's got some good depth. He's got Pickens as well. Maybe we'll see Bryce Young take a step forward this year. But and Kendre Miller, he could end up being the guy in New Orleans too. That could be a nice little pick that he has sitting waiting there.
Vinny, talk to me about what you see. Besides having 102, look at Stick's draft picks here. Very bleak.
Very bleak, but I mean, it's not horrible. We're missing some forts, right? He still has a first 2 years from now, couple seconds. I think it's fine, especially for how all in he wanted to go. He didn't deplete his draft. So I commend him for how good of a job he did.
Yeah.
I
That
I think he did
102
a good job.
that 102 is he's probably going to be a startable guy right away too. So even if he wants to leave that lineup as is or has the 102, I mean, it worked out perfectly. I think Stick really did kind of a to the books kind of job. Like everything was kind of perfect with what he did.
Yep. All right. We'll move on to Coolis's team here. Coolis has been a team that very quiet. He pulled off one move this offseason with you, Joka. Other
Been
than
active.
that, Coolis, you out there? What do you guys think of Coolis's roster here with Herbert leading the way?
Vinny, you can kick this one off.
Yeah, I mean, I do really like his team, except for one glaring hole. And I think it's pretty obvious that it's the tight end.
Yeah.
This Taysom Hill is going to be your go-to guy for the start of the season. I feel like that should be something he should be looking for, whether it be draft or trade. Because once he gets that, I think it's one of the teams that's contending.
Yeah, 100% agree with Vinny. I mean, he's got some good veteran pieces. I think Jaden Reed, I think he's probably going to take a step forward this year. It's really that one glaring piece. He's got Cousins as a backup quarterback. I mean, we'll take that all day. He does have some depth. He's got Ramondre Stevenson, who was just extended for a few years. Maybe a poke other than, looking at the tight end, you're looking at kind of like a wide receiver. You've only got a couple that we have in here that, again, you don't win a championship with depth, but it certainly helps if one of those pieces does go down. Maybe you end up trading some of those future firsts or seconds, maybe some of those veteran guys along with those picks, and you end up with a couple of other pieces too. But I think Matt's got a great team. I think he's going to be a playoff team. You can't go wrong having Jamar Chase really on any roster. Any week he could win you a matchup. So
yeah, I think Coolis should be a playoff team. He doesn't have a first or a second this year. But I think he'll be fine with it. He's got a good starting lineup. And I mean, talk about if there's one team that's using the stand pat strategy, it's this one right here for the most part. More than any other team.
No, great team.
All right. Vinny, we're gonna jump over to you. Let's pray to the sun god.
Look at his little smile, dude. He's so happy.
Vinny, lead us off.
Break it down, guys.
What are you thinking? You lead us off. Tell us how you feel about your team here. Let's go through it.
Me? I feel like an ass talking about my own team.
I'll
go real quick.
Give it.
I don't know. I think it's a good starting lineup. There's definitely some wide receiver depth. I guess running back could be better, but two good tight ends, good wide receivers, at least two quarterbacks. I'm not extremely confident in the two, but I don't know. I think everything's looking pretty solid here, except for just draft picks this year.
Yep. I hate how you don't change your lineup and you have Laporta in your IR still.
And Kirk.
And
Kirk is still, so it's like the depth looks terrible, and then you look at his IR and you're like,
yeah.
Oh my god, he's actually got depth in there.
This is disrespectful.
He's won still so far.
It's just disrespectful, man. Get them out of
fantasy football right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with honestly both of you. Who knows what we're gonna see with the quarterback situation. I feel like we were hearing, a couple years ago, we were hearing that Trevor Lawrence was the Caleb Williams of his kind of like draft class. He held on for an extra year in college, and maybe that ended up hurting his aura a little bit. I don't know. Vinny, I think you've got a good team. Breece Hall, Amon-Ra, and Nico Collins kind of as like your big core pieces. I mean, you've got arguably the number one, number two running back, maybe behind like CMC. He's probably going to be the one or the two running back. Looking at your other running back pieces, that might be your only other weakness. But I mean, you have a good team. You've got good depth, and you've got two top 10 tight ends. So, I mean, you're absolutely in a good spot for this next season.
Yep. I mean, if you got a second running back, I think you'd be in better shape. You'd be more happy about
Zach
that.
Moss.
I think
Zach
you're
Moss
gonna
is the
start
starter right
Zach
now
Moss.
in Cincy.
Yeah, you're gonna be starting Zach Moss this year, but having Laporta and Ingram, two top tight ends, I don't know with teams out there that are so tight end needy, how you haven't dangled those guys a little more. Obviously, Laporta's not going anywhere, but Ingram, he's a tradable piece for you.
I
But
gotta go back. You said something about me drafting back-to-back tight ends in our initial draft. Like, what are you doing? This is one of the worst things I've seen Vinny
well,
draft.
you went rookie. I've always been a Laporta guy, so I don't even know what you're saying.
There were some crazy things said by Hugo in that draft, Vinny. So let's not hold him accountable. We all remember the
I
wide
blacked out.
receiver.
Okay, I
Yeah.
blacked
Nobody
out.
talk about
Yeah.
Judy.
Yeah, we all remember the Kadarius Tony comments that were made and stuff like that. So
By far the worst draft.
I
pick.
don't
I'll own
hold
up
it
to
against
that.
you, Hugo. You were vibing, you were having a good time.
Hand up.
I
That's on me.
I believed in Tony too. I did.
Yeah.
My hand's firmly down. I'm sorry, guys. I'm
he
not
had
with
all
you
the
on that.
opportunity in the world and he effed it up for himself.
The guy's quick.
Yeah.
Easily one of the quickest NFL
That man
players.
can run.
Yeah, seriously. But boys, we're gonna jump right back into finishing the rest of the team, and then we'll finally get into the showdown of the mock draft. Stay tuned. We're gonna take a quick intermission over here, and then we're gonna start right back up with part 2 coming up here, boys. So just hang on tight for me.